So this is my third time doing this video because I am not having a good day with my computer. So I wanted to come on to my page because I've really totally neglected it and I need to remember the reasons why I'm doing this. So I wanted to give an update since I started Kaftrio last year because that was my main fight, and I am nearly 1 year down the line on being on Kaftrio. So the Kaftrio is going really, really well. I have no complaints about it whatsoever. I've not had any of the side effects, like bad side effects, that people have spoke about in groups and forums and things like that. One of the big side effects I did have was eating, as you can see a bit. So I have got a big appetite. Sorry, for people with cystic fibrosis, I don't know why it happens, but a lot of them have really poor appetite. Mostly females. I don't know why it is. It's just one of these things. And sometimes the thought of food would actually make me feel sick. So I used to be really slim in my frame, and then when I started Kaftrio, I can't say I've had many days like that. Actually, I really enjoy my dinner. I look forward to going out for a meal. I clear my plate now. Actually, when I had started the drug, me and my partner were going out for dinner, and he's usually first to finish his dinner, and it was actually me, and then I was kind of looking at his plate as if, are you going to finish that? So that was a big difference for me. I've never been like that ever. So even my family were like, "Whoa, this is different." But my face has totally changed in shape. I used to have quite a slim face, but this isn't actually Kaftrio that's done this. Even though I have put on weight, this is a lot of fluid retention from my kidneys, because my kidneys are really badly deteriorated, but that's nothing to do with the Kaftrio. My kidneys have really declined because next year I'll be 20 years post heart and lung transplant. So sadly, the consequences of a transplant is that the transplant medication attacks your kidneys. So I will need a kidney transplant in time. I just don't know when or what they're going to do about it. I have a renal appointment in a fortnight, so we'll take it from there. But my kidney function has declined rapidly. Because it was 22 in November and now it's 14. So that is a big jump. I'm quite surprised I've actually not noticed it myself. I have been really tired, but I've just put that down to I've just been dealing with it basically. This is my new normal. So I just got on with it. I don't apart from being really tired, I mean, I go to my bed early. I sleep maybe to about 11:30, 12 because I'm exhausted. But I've just been getting on with it, so I've not really noticed much of a difference. But otherwise, when I started the Kaftrio in May 2022, my kidney function was probably about in the 20s, the low 20s. So the Kaftrio has no impact on the kidneys. It can make the medication that you take absorb better in the stomach, which will make the kidneys stay stable. They have been stable, but the thing that's happened is I've had to start taking water tablets. So water tablets actually make your kidney function worse. So that could be the reason why it's rapidly declined in the recent weeks, because I've had to start taking water tablets. And they did say that will decline. So, but anyway, back to the Kaftrio. So when I started it in May 2022, I was admitted for a couple of days to start it just to see if anything happened, because one of the reasons they didn't want to give me the drug was because, excuse me, they had 2 cases in America that they found, and it was a post-transplant patient, and when they gave them the drug they ended up with something called seafoam lungs. Now, I had never heard of that. And what it is, basically the lungs just filled with foam, and the the person, I think it was just one, or it was 2 cases, so the persons, they had died. Luckily, that's not happened. It would have happened right away, so it's not happened. I'm still here. We're nearly a year down the line, so I'm quite lucky, and glad that I did keep up that fight to get to try the drug, because it was a risk I was willing to take, and I'm still here. So although the first night that I did have the Kaftrio, I did have a hypo, and I never had any signs of it whatsoever. So it just so happens the nurse came in to take my blood sugars, and they were 3.2, 3.4, something like that. And she was like, "Oh, you need to take something just now to sort this." Usually I can tell when I'm having a hypo right away, but I didn't through to that, so that must have mean the drug was working in the gut, because that's one of the things that the drug works with, the pancreas side of things. Hold on a second, my cat is meowing at the window. What? A second. Come on then. So, so anyway, I had a hypo that first night. I didn't know anything about it. So we sorted the hypo, that was fine. It happened again a couple of hours later, we sorted it out again. So that must have meant that the tablet was working in the gut. Sorry, nobody talks to me all day, and then I come on to do this and the cat wants my attention, and he usually doesn't bother me, so that's strange. But so anyway, the drug was working in the pancreas, because you suffer with problems with your pancreas due to your CF, so obviously the drug was working, and that's why it was causing the hypo. So anyway, we just had to keep an eye on the blood sugars, because if I never had any signs of the hypo, I wouldn't have known. So God knows what could have happened, but luckily it was being checked anyway. And it went on from there, and my appetite became amazing. So I started to really enjoy going out for dinner and eating food, and everything was great. And then August 2022, I took really ill at home. Actually, I had terrible pain in my stomach. I went to the GP to get an appointment. I couldn't get an appointment, so they gave me a telephone consultation. I thought it was a urine infection. They treated me for a urine infection. The antibiotics didn't work. Ended up, I had terrible pain in my back, at my kidney area. So Sunday came, and I thought, I'm really lazy, like I need to get up. There's nothing wrong with me, this is just all in my head. Because I'd had antibiotics, I had treatment, and I just thought that it was just me being lazy. So I pushed myself to get up. I went to my mother-in-law's, I had a cup of tea, and then she said, "You look terrible." And I said, "Actually, I feel it." I said, "But I'm just trying to get on with it." And then after, when I was drinking my cup of tea, I said, "I'm really sorry, I have to go home. I'm in so much pain." And when I did go home, I turned yellow and I started trembling, and then my partner says I was kind of grey in colour, but going between yellow and grey. My hands were chalk white, so they're actually kind of red today, right? This is how I notice now if anything's wrong with it, because I look at the colour of my hands. So right now they're okay. But so my hands were absolutely white, basically like transparent. And so I didn't. He phoned my mum and showed my mum on FaceTime what I looked like, and she said, "You really need to phone the hospital, get her to hospital ASAP." So we eventually got through to the hospital. they said come up. I was trembling, I couldn't stop shaking. I had a duvet around me, I had a blanket around me, I had a dressing gown, I had a jumper on. I was absolutely frozen, but obviously I felt warm. Got to the hospital, had bloods done. They were rushed right through, and then my partner had stayed with me for a wee while till I get settled in. And as soon as he left, he must have just set his foot out the door. As soon as he left, they all came rushing in, and I needed a blood transfusion, and I needed it now. If I didn't get it now, I wasn't going to make it. It was really a case of life or death. Now, this was a Sunday night, so I said at home, I thought I was being lazy, I thought it was all in my head, and if I'm still unwell in the morning, I'll go up in the morning. I'm not going up on a Sunday night because nothing will happen, they won't do anything for me, I'll just get left. No, I wouldn't have made it in the Monday. So I had to get that emergency bag right there and then. Turns out that the one bag wasn't enough, so I had to get a second bag because I never got it quick enough. So I had lost a lot of blood and I was dying. So I needed that blood right there and then. That all happened so quick. I was kind of in shock, and I must have been kind of delusional, because when she asked me my age, sitting taking your notes to admit you to into the ward, and she said, what age are you? And I said 25. I went, no, I'm not 25. I'm going to be 33 next year. So I was going back in time a bit. But it was really, I've had a blood transfusion before, but not to the extent of that. I really thought I would be fine in the morning, and I could have went up the next day, but thankfully my partner didn't listen to me, and he phoned right away, and that's what happened, because I wouldn't be sitting doing this if he didn't do that. So thank God for him. But other than that, that's where my kidneys have been. The kidneys caused the problem for the blood transfusion. So because of their decline, that's why I ended up with low haemoglobin, and I ended up needing the blood transfusion. This is because when you have a transplant, the medication that keeps your body functioning, the transplanted organs, also attacks the kidneys. So there's no give without take. You can't win it all, and unfortunately I will have to go through the stage of having a kidney transplant. Unfortunately I don't have any live donors, so that's another problem, because if I had a live donor we could probably do it now, but I don't have a live donor, so it's actually really, really difficult, because I wouldn't want to ask anybody. It's people offer, and it's really lovely and it's an amazing thing. But I would feel terrible for asking someone or taking someone's. I know I'm not taking it because they're offering it, but I mean, I would feel terrible if anything happened to that person and they've gave me a kidney. I couldn't live with myself. So the live donor idea is amazing, and it works for some, but it doesn't work for everyone. My kidneys are really what causes me my daily issues right now. It causes me severe water retention, which is edema. So my legs swell up like balloons. They end up massive if I walk about on them. So I try not walk about all day, and I end up with water retention on my face. So this is all like, well, a lot of it, maybe some of it's food, but a lot of it is water retention. The water retention really holds my day back. The kidney failure holds my day back. The kidney failure makes me really, really tired. I end up with low haemoglobin. I've had to have blood transfusions. I've had to have bags of fluid with electrolytes in them. All this stuff because the kidneys filter everything. The kidneys filter get rid of all the toxins out your body. And people say, drink more water, drink more water. I've heard it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work the way people think it's a miracle cure. There's only so much water you can drink anyway, because you're on a fluid restriction when you've got kidney problems, so you can't overdo it anyway. Sometimes you could drink too much water and it's bad, so you really can't win. And I need to lose a bit of weight purely because apparently that's one of the reasons that my kidney function can be a wee bit low, but I don't see it. I'm not massive, I'm not fat. I have a bit of a plump face, right? I've not been used to this, I've never had this, but I'm not. The renal team actually said I was obese for my height and my size. Now, I am 67 kilograms. I'm 158 centimetres in height. Don't know what that is in feet. I'm not good with that. But I'm about 5 foot something. And they told me that I was obese and I had to lose weight. Now, when I'm this weight, I'm more healthy with my CF. So, renal don't actually treat me as if... The renal treat me as if I'm just a basic kidney patient, and that's what I'm not. I'm not just a normal renal patient. I have cystic fibrosis. I have kidney failure. I have orofacial granulomatous. I have oral Crohn's disease. I have Crohn's disease. I have several other conditions. I am not just a renal patient. So that's what's annoying, trying to get them to understand that, because they need to take all these other factors into consideration. So sometimes I feel like it's a fighting battle all the time. I'm always going in guns blazing, because not being cheeky, but trying to get my point across to make them understand that I'm not just a basic kidney patient. I have all these other things. So there's some things that they do, they'll ask me to do, that would put my cystic fibrosis at jeopardy. There's some things that maybe the CF team asked me to do that wouldn't help with renal. So I need to take both of these people's advice on board and see what works for me and what doesn't work for me. I'm basically working it out myself. So whatever I've been doing the last month, overeating probably, that's what's causing maybe the low kidney function. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But when renal put me on a fluid restriction, I end up ill. And that's really, I have ended up ill. They want me to drink 1,000 mils a day only. Now, if I do that, Kaftrio doesn't work. Kaftrio works better in your body the more fluid you drink. So, that's a factor that needs to be taken on board. Also, when you have cystic fibrosis, you need to keep drinking fluids in your body anyway, because of your excessive salt in the body. And it helps with your sinuses if you keep drinking plenty of fluids. So I've got sinus problems. The more you take fluid, the better it is for your sinuses as well. So that's another factor that needs to be taken into consideration. A car outside with really loud music. Anyway, so that's another thing. But other than that, CF side of things right now is good. Kidneys are not at all. It's really not good, and that is what kills my days. That is what makes me tired. That's what makes me unwell, is my kidneys. So I have a damaged kidney. So you have a dominant kidney and a backup kidney, your slave, say. So my slave kidney is working harder than the dominant kidney, because the dominant kidney is damaged. So the dominant kidney apparently looks like a prune, and the slave kidney is the one that's working hard for both. So that doesn't help either. But but it's just what I have to deal with, unfortunately, and I'm just getting on with it. I'm just trying my best. Not every day is the same, and if I can upload the previous video, which I done earlier, I'm not a technical whiz whatsoever, but if I can upload the first video I done, you'll see that was before I went for my bath and washed my hair, and you can still see I'm tired, I'm drained, but you can see even more so before I went and freshened up. I try every day to get up and get on with it. Since I moved house though, I'm so much happier in my new environment. I think that's why I've actually not noticed my kidneys have declined, because I'm quite content. So I get up every day. No matter what, I don't lie in my bed. If I'm lying in my bed, then I would be really ill. But when I was in my old house, I felt I was just quite confined to my room because of the layout of the house. But since I've moved, I am up every single day. I make sure I'm trying not to lie in bed all day unless I really, really need it. And I think I've done it once since I've been here, and I'll sit in my living room all day. I have to do these things for my mental health. I have to do these things to take up my day and make my day better. So what can I do? There's nothing I can do. There's no miracle cure. On the Kaftrio drug. If I never had the kidney problems, or if I had a kidney transplant, then maybe I would be able to do a lot more, because the Kaftrio is amazing. It's an amazing drug. It really is. And I've seen a lot of people actually CF parents taking their child off it because of the mental health side effects. Now, luckily, I have dealt with mental health problems all my days, but I have not had any bad mental health side effects on this drug. Now, I've seen so many people, and I had to kind of hold my tongue on certain forums, right, because I've seen lots of parents take their child off this drug because of the mental health side effects. Okay, I understand that, I really do. But who's to say it is all Kaftrio? Because a lot of children with cystic fibrosis without this drug already would suffer with mental health problems just purely because of their condition and maybe the acceptance. So I would rather try and sort out the mental health side of things, even if it meant Medicaid or therapy or something like that. And if all these things weren't working, then fair enough, come off the drug. But this drug is life-saving and could stop many people needing transplants, and it's helping people breathe. I can't get my head around that. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's just what I think. I think you would rather you want them to have a life rather than taking them off it and them having to die with cystic fibrosis, because it is a killer. You literally will suffocate to death, and this drug is life-saving. So I can't work my head around that. I know, I understand mental health is a big thing. I do get that, because I do suffer. I have and do suffer from mental health problems myself, but I can't get over that part. Why you would take your child off that life-saving drug because of the mental health side effects. I think you would rather medicate the mental health side effects. What's one more tablet? Really? If that's the case, what's one more tablet to breathing, to having a life, to living a life? If the side effects were so severe that there's suicide and things like that, if there was suicide risks, and right, okay, that's fine, stop it. But if it can be managed, medicated, or dealt with therapy, then I think that's a small piece for being able to breathe. If that makes any sense without sounding cruel whatsoever. I grew up in the 90s with cystic fibrosis. I am very lucky that I had my transplant, that's fair enough. But I was a child with cystic fibrosis. I know how hard it is to be that child with cystic fibrosis. And if there was a drug like that in the 90s for us, I bet my whole life on it, my mum would have done that for us. And we would have dealt with the rest of it with other methods, because that's the gift of life. It really is. It's the gift of life. So I have been the rebellious teenager. I have been the really spoiled brat kid. But I have been through all the mental health side effects of cystic fibrosis. I don't need to have help now to understand my condition, but when I was younger I would think, why me? Or why my brother? I would always, that was it. But if it came between that drug and not being able to breathe, then I would be picking the drug, because unless you are the patient with cystic fibrosis, then I don't think you'll ever understand. You have to put yourself in the child's shoes or the patient's shoes, unless you are that parent, unless the parent has cystic fibrosis, or unless you yourself have it, then you'll understand. But if you are the parent, I don't think you'll understand. You'll never understand fully what it's like. You can see it, you can live it, you can breathe it, but unless you're breathing those CF lungs, you won't understand. And that's just how I feel about it. Not everybody's the same. So maybe a bit controversial, as usual, but I just think the Kaftrio is an amazing drug. I think it's something that should be taken seriously. Without it, don't know, but it's just a small piece, and it could save the need for organs as well. Obviously there will be people out there that still need transplants, that's fair enough, but that number will significantly reduce with Kaftrio. So let me know what you think about what I've said in my blog or whatever, if you don't agree, if you do agree, or what you think on anything that I've said. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I have a page, so if you need anybody, if anybody needs anybody to speak to, whether it be a parent with CF, child with CF, adult with CF, anything, even if it's about renal, then I'm always happy to help. That's the whole reason why I do this. So I look forward to hearing from you, because usually sometimes I do get quite a lot of messages, so I'm willing to help anybody that I can. And thank you for listening if you managed to get to the end of this video.